All right, this is going to be another 2-point demo, and on this one, I'm going to show you how to do like words or letters in 2-point. This is for some people that maybe they don't have any interest in doing a house or they're not sure what they want to do in their project. We could try something like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a lot of these lines in red to start because they're going to be guidelines. So we can start, and I'll just put it maybe in the middle, but I'll just start with my horizon line and then my 2 vanishing points. So I'll switch these. Okay, let's put vanishing point over here, vanishing point over here. All right, and what I'm going to do in red, I'm going to make just a giant guide. And so you would just draw this really light. But basically, I'm going to create like a giant 3-dimensional rectangle. And basically, we're going to fit the words into that space. It's probably the easiest way to draw letters in 2-point. So I'm going to start, and I'm going to be on the left side because we're going to imagine our name is really long and it kind of veers off to one side and gets smaller, and then the other side we'll use for the 3-dimensional part of it. So I'm just going to make a vertical line, and let's say my first letter is going to be really tall, like something like this. Okay, I'm going to take that to both vanishing points. So it's kind of like just how we started our house because we're just making a rectangle. Okay, so like that and like that. Okay, and now what we're going to do is we're going to cut this off. So we're going to imagine that we can read the word on this plane here. So I'm going to make it, long enough to fit the word, whatever the word may be. Might be your name, initials, could just be a word that you like. And I'm going to cut off on this side. On the left side now, when we cut it off, this is just going to be how thick you want your letters to be. So this you're not going to do nearly as long. So I might do it like right here. Okay, and then I'm going to start erasing out some of these lines. And actually, we shouldn't really need the horizon line either. We just do that to get it started. So basically, all that's going to be gone. All this is going to be gone. And then the horizon line here in the middle is going to be gone. All right, so basically you can see this kind of looks like a 3D wall now, or like a block, and it's using the vanishing points. So now it's just a matter of fitting our word into this. So I'm just going to pick a random letter. I'll try the letter N. That's kind of a trickier one. So I just imagine how wide I want this top part of my N to be, kind of pick a spot. The N does kind of have a made up angle, so I'm just going to do like an angle like this for that part of the N. And then this part of the N would be a straight, perfect vertical line. Okay, and then the top is just going to run, like the top and bottom of the letters are going to use those guidelines. So it's just going to run right along that. And then I would do a vertical line here. Now it's important, since this part's really wide, my N is getting smaller. So I want to make sure this side's a little bit skinnier. Okay, now this part here is going to run along the bottom. I kind of pick the spot where I want to go, and I'm going to do it parallel to that first angle that I made, maybe up to like there. And then I'm going to do a vertical line this way. Okay, so now basically the whole idea is you're drawing the bubble letter and fitting it into this wall. And now this left side is already 3D because we have this coming off of here. So now what I have to do, that I can see the whole main letter going to the right vanishing point, to make the 3D parts, I take any corners I can to the left vanishing point. Okay, and actually what I should be doing is I should be drawing this in black now. So what I'm going to do is, well, I'll just keep it in red since that's what I was doing, but I was kind of meaning for red to be the guidelines, but that's fine. I'll just keep this in red, but you should be able to see the letter. So you see that goes to the left vanishing point. You don't have to draw it all the way. You can just draw it like about as thick as the letter should be. Okay, and then here it's just going to run parallel straight down. Okay, and then this corner here is going to go to the left vanishing point. Make it about as thick as you've been making your other parts of your letter. And now this angle is going to run parallel to this one. So you could, run your ruler on here, find that angle, and put that angle right there. Okay, and then I would just start, don't erase the whole block, but you can erase the parts like by your letter. So here you can see I've got my letter N, and that's in 2-point perspective, and I can erase maybe a little bit of this. Okay, so there's the letter N. So now I can make another letter. So let's say, I don't know, let's try the letter E. Okay, and I think these blockier letters are going to be easier, so you just decide how much spacing you want in between. Okay, so there's that line for the E. And maybe what I'll do, yeah, I'll make this one in black, just we can have them different colors. All right, so this will be the first line of my E. And then the top runs right along the top. So I just follow that as long as I think my E should go. And the whole idea is your letters are shrinking and compressing and getting smaller. So the length here should be a little bit shorter than the entire length of my N. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a quick guideline. So from the end of my E here, I'm going to do a vertical line as a guide, just so I know where that part ends. Go back to black. So now the bottom is going to run right along this, and I'm going to go up to that guideline I made. Okay, and then on here, it's just going to be straight up. And now to do this part of the E, you have to use the vanishing point. So I'm going to use the vanishing point here, figure out how far in that goes. You wouldn't have to draw it from here. You could start right on this corner. So what I would do is line up my ruler here and here, start on this corner and just draw back this way. Okay, then I just go vertical, kind of figure out where the middle of my E is. Now the inside part has to use the vanishing point from the right side. Kind of decide where that goes. And then vertical. Okay, and then vanishing point to that corner there. Like that. And then vertical. And then the vanishing point to the right. Okay, like that. But you would stop when you hit this guideline here. And then straight up right here. Okay, so basically the thing to keep in mind is on this part of the letter, everything is a vertical line. All of these angles are using the right vanishing point. So every line's either vertical or using the right vanishing point. Now I'm going to do the 3D part and pull all the corners to the left that I can. So this would go to the left. Now what's going to happen is it might come out just a little bit or maybe run into the end. I'll make it so it doesn't quite run into the end. And then this corner to the left. So now I'm only using the left vanishing point. Okay, and then you want a perfect vertical here, straight up. Okay, and now this corner can go to the left vanishing point, like this. Once again, just decide like kind of how wide or how thick that should be. Okay, now there's a part that's going to be a little bit tricky with this. Now from this corner here, we actually have to use the other vanishing point. It's going to come back this way. We didn't really see that on our N. Okay, so we'll come back this way. And then this part is like right over the middle, so that part we won't actually do. So those two corners, but depending on where they are, you know, depending on where you draw yours, you might have to do those corners. It all just depends. So here, maybe just like out to here. And then once again, we use this vanishing point to line up that corner there. Okay, so there's the 3D part of the E. Okay, now I know people will ask about it, so let me try something that's rounded. And I'm just warning you, it's going to look really bad because I'm drawing it with a mouse. Okay, so let's say I'll do a letter S because that's a pretty basic one here. Okay, so you draw it and you just make sure you kind of draw an S. Whoops, that's too thick. And you just make sure that the top touches the top. And then you're just going to try to draw an entire bubble letter S, and then you want the bottom to touch the bottom and let it come out wider down here. Okay, something like that. Okay, so there's my S in there, and that's pretty much the entire letter. So then all you'd have to do is now make the thickness of it using the other vanishing point. So from the left vanishing point, I would go up here, and since it's rounded, put your ruler on it, move it down till you hit a spot, and that's kind of where you go. And then what you do is just decide how thick you want that S to be. Let's do, I think this bottom corner will go pretty easily here. Determine the thickness. And they should get a little bit thinner each time. So I'm making this one a little bit thinner than the E because it is a little bit farther away. Okay, something like that. And then I think I would have one for the very bottom of the S. So probably like right there. Okay, and then I think this corner would go as well. And then I'm almost out of time here, so I'm really quickly, you would just take your pencil and then you just follow the curve of the S, but you want to try to keep relatively the same thickness. It's just going to run like that. That's going to be a parallel angle there. That's going to come down like that, and that's going to come up like that. Okay, if you have other questions on specific letters, you can let me know, but this should be a pretty good overview here.